Hi, it's Trish Gastineau, and today I'm going to be answering one of the questions that you guys were so kind to send to me. Um, Beth had asked me what kind of documents are required to travel outside of the United States. So that one seems like a good one to begin with, since if you're going to go out of the United States, this is something that you're really going to need. The very first thing that you're going to need if you're going to fly from the United States into a foreign country, and that's going to be Canada or Mexico or the Bahamas, places, Europe, any of the other continents, excluding St. Thomas, St. John, Puerto Rico, and Guam, because those are all U.S. territories. Okay? The very first thing that you're going to need to do is to apply for a U.S. passport. And I say apply because we don't buy them. We actually have to give the government information, including a copy of a government-issued photo ID, like a driver's license. You're going to need to have a birth certificate, and not the cutie one with your little footprint stamped on it that your mom keeps. It's going to need to be a long-form birth certificate. If you don't have a state-certified copy of your birth certificate, that raised state seal that you can feel, then you would need to ask for one from the state that you were born in, and some of the states you can get them online. Others, you can just go, if you're still local, you can go to the health department or Department of Vital Statistics and get that. So those would be the first two things that you would really need to get going. You got your photo ID, then you're going to have your birth certificate. Then, if you're a married lady, then more than likely your name has changed from what was on your birth certificate, unless you happen to marry a Smith or Jones and your maiden name was Smith or Jones. So then you're going to need to take a document showing how your name has changed, or maybe you just changed your name. I've always thought somebody accidentally named me at a conference one time, Trisma Gastinelli. And so if I wanted to change my name to Trisma Gastinelli, I'd need to have some kind of court document showing how my name had changed from my maiden name to Trisma Gastinelli. So we would go ahead and we would need to have that document as well, and it needs to be a state certified copy. These are all official copies. So you're going to need those things. If you're a naturalized citizen, there's some other things, but the best place for that information is to go to the Travel Department's website, which is Travel.state.gov, and they're going to have a list. You can go in and click passport, and then you can say a new passport or a renewal passport. So you're going to get that information together along with two passport quality photos, and there's very strict on these. Needs to be behind a solid background. It needs to be white or off-white. You need to be facing the camera squarely, a full-on shot. You know, if you wear glasses, normally wear your glasses, but no ball caps, things like that. You can have those done at like Walgreens, CVS, Costco, or Sam's are a great place to do it. Or some of the passport offices will do your photos for a charge. Now, the good thing about doing it with the post office or the passport office is that if they take your photo, you know it's going to be right. I've seen several people at the post office with photos that have been examined that have been turned away. So just keep that in mind. Look at those things. Once you get all of your documentation together, you're going to go to the passport office closest to you. There is that list on the Travel.state.gov website, and you're going to find out where you need to go in person to set this up. You're going to need to have payment. There's going to be a payment, like if you go to the post office, as most people do, there's only certain post offices that do this. You're going to need to have payment for the service fee for the post office and also for the State Department. So you're going to take your documentation and you're going to take it, they're going to look at it, they're going to say, yes, this is all good, or no, you need this other piece, and then you're going to give them payment. They're going to ship this off to the passport office. Your application is going to be reviewed, and If everything goes well, then they're going to issue that passport. They're going to send it back to you, and you'll have that, and then you'll be ready to begin travel internationally. From there, we would decide where you're going, and if you're going to also need a document called a visa, an entry visa. And that is going to be based on whether or not you need to have, each country's got their own individual entry requirements, and we need to meet those so that you don't get disappointed or get held at your destination without the proper documentation. Now, a quick thing about the passports. They're typically good for 10 years, and most countries, the most restrictive countries, have a stipulation that your passport needs to be good for at least 6 months after you travel. So that's something that a lot of people get caught on, and I always ask my clients to send me a copy of that passport photo page so that I can help them double check that. That's one of the services I offer. So your passport's going to be good for 10 years. Some countries require that it just be valid when you come in, but the most restrictive is 6 months after travel. They ask you to have at least 2 pages available. Some countries only want 1 page available to stamp it when you come in. The other thing that you need to realize is if you're traveling out of the country with children, they of course will also need their own passports. Now, back when I was a little kid and my father was in the Navy, we could be on my mom's passport. That was something that they did. I don't know. They don't do that anymore. So the kids need their own passport. And an important thing to realize is that the children's passports are only good for 5 years. So we've got adult passports for 10, children's for 5. When you are going to apply for a passport for a child under a specific age, both parents or guardians have to come to the office to sign. Now, they can come at different times, but both of them have to agree. And that's protection for you, that's protection for your child, but some situations can be kind of iffy there, so you need to work that out. Typically, 4 to 8 weeks to get a passport. You can check on the site to see how long they're taking to process the passports. And one thing that happened about 10 years ago was that the government decided that instead of allowing us to travel to the Caribbean and Canada and Mexico with a certified copy of our passport and a government-issued photo ID, that everybody who was going to fly was going to have a passport. Now, what that means to you is that 10-year window is coming up for all those people that just had their passports done 10 years ago, who were going to the Caribbean, Mexico, and Canada without those. So we are looking that is going to cause a backlog here coming up. So if you've got a passport or you're getting ready to do a trip, go ahead and apply now. If you are like my sweet husband Kent and your passport expires sometime this year or early next year, go ahead and do it now. There is nothing more stressful than buying a non-refundable airline ticket to a wonderful destination internationally and then finding out that your passport is not being processed in time. Another little caveat I'm going to throw in there is that because we are applying for a passport, not buying it, is that you could get denied. And I've seen that happen for a couple of reasons. One was that your documentation was not correct. One was maybe that you were a felon, or another, maybe you were behind on child support. Now they're saying if you're more than a certain amount behind in taxes, that they will either pull your passport or not allow you to have one. So I hope that helps with the question of what do I need to travel out of the country. I hope you have a wonderful day. Please let me know if you have any questions about this specific video, or if you have a question that you would like for me to answer on a future video. Thanks so much. Again, Trish Gastineau. Thanks for watching. Bye.